What's going on, guys, and welcome to another episode of Smash JT. What you are looking at right now is the Retrotink 2X, and this was created by engineer Mike Chi. There is a situation that is going on right now that has a lot of people extremely concerned, and that is a company called Kaico Labs, who took the design from Mike Chi and basically duplicated it one for one. Now, like always with these videos, I want to do my best to remain as impartial as possible, but in this case it's gonna be pretty challenging because there's a lot of damning evidence against Kaico Labs for what amounts to essentially stealing the design, the blueprints for a retro HDMI scaler for old school game consoles, bringing them up to new flat screen TVs by plugging them into this and having a mini HDMI run out of them and having a button to switch between a few different interlacing options. Not going to go into any technical spec details with this, just going to go over the basics of what's going on to let you guys know that this company, Kaico Labs, is shady as fuck. First off, let's take a quick look at the Retrotink 2X. It's a $100 zero-lag 480p HDMI scaler for retro game consoles, performs excellently, and there's even a 3D printed case available for purchase. And it goes into what it can do here, all the different inputs, signals, resolutions, power requirements, region compatibility features, all that fun stuff. Now, before I hit record on this video, I did quite a bit of research on this because personally, I wasn't too in the know on this device. I didn't even know it existed, to be honest. And now that I know about it, it's pretty cool. It's something that I actually would potentially be interested in using in my own life. Here are some images showing the scanner, the filtering, and what it looks like with and without it, and how it smooths the edges of the hard graphics on these old school consoles. And here's a lag test showing that there's minimal lag. That's all well and good, but what transpired recently with Kaico Labs is extremely concerning. Here is Mike Chi's Twitter profile, and he's got a lot of very interesting Twitter posts. One of the most interesting ones is from a retweet from a guy named Lord Voltar. Unfortunately, Lord Voltar's tweets are not loading anymore, and apparently it has something to do with Twitter blocking any kind of emails and messages, things like that, because apparently it violates Twitter rules. And it was just a few images from emails basically exposing this company, Kaico Labs, for how they tried to copy the design from Michael Chi, which is kind of BS that those got removed because it was evidence against a company proving that they were stealing information from an engineer who was creating a very unique item. Now, since those are not here anymore, I read them last night. Unfortunately, Twitter has removed them. You'll just have to take my word for it that Voltar went into some pretty good detail discussing what transpired between him and Kaico Labs and how they contacted him and tried to create their own retro scaler 2X and how he wanted no part of how they were copying things, and going into further detail with the emails proving that. I wish I could show them to you and made a video yesterday on it, but I didn't want to react too quickly on this topic, and I'm glad I didn't either because more information has come out from Kaico Labs creating a basically defense post responding to their accusations on Reddit. Here is what they say. I'm not going to read the entire thing. For those of you who are interested in it, you can pause the screen and read through this yourself if you'd like to. But basically, what they say is we're not going to respond to anyone who's malicious towards us or hateful with us, and that it's an open source project and anyone could build the product from scratch. So they aren't copying anything. They were just sourcing parts, which, by the way, those parts are really hard to get, but their Retroscaler 2X project is a work in progress right now, and it's not been released to the market yet. They posted a picture of the case on social media without any further information, and this has created backlash somewhat. You think so? As people believe we cloned or made a one-for-one copy of Mike Chi's Retrotink 2X, which you did, by the way. Kaico Labs doesn't really give a reason why we should believe anything otherwise. It just says we made a few mistakes along the way, a big mistake. We shouldn't have posted that picture. We made a mistake with this. We ran out of these parts here. We don't know about this. And we're sorry about any of the communication issues that we've had. At the end of the day, when a product is doing well, it drives further innovation from competition. This is free market capitalism and is what drives this innovation. No, this is theft. This is stealing. This is a one-for-one. You found the information from Mike Chi's Retrotink. You saw it was a good idea. You saw that it was an open source project that you could supply the parts yourself from another company and basically copy it one-for-one exactly how he engineered it and tried to pass it off as your own device that you can sell as competition. That is not capitalism. That is straight up theft. That doesn't drive innovation. That just copies one person and tries to sell something from somewhere else, the same exact product, and that is unacceptable. I'm going to contact Mike Chi directly in the meantime and hopefully explain that there's no malice or ill intent here. When going down this path, we simply did it to offer more choice to the retro gaming community on the demand for the non-RGB compatible scaler. Screw you. God, Kaico Labs, could you get any more dense? This is the same exact item that Mike Chi is selling on his website. Literally, a one-for-one copy. All the things are in the same spots. Every button, everything that it does, all in basically what amounts to the same exact location on the device. Now, the buttons are on a different spot. They're on the edge of this device in the bottom left corner, and on the actual Retrotink, they're over there on the side. But that's it. That's the only difference. This accomplishes all the same things that the original Retrotink 2X does, except it's coming from a different company that sources the parts and creates it themselves and writes their logo on it right here, the Retro Scaler 2X, they call it. Not the Retrotink 2X, the Retro Scaler 2X. Holy crap, Kaico. This is embarrassing and you should be ashamed of yourselves. The entire retro community needs to boycott your product, and even more so, Mike Chi should pursue legal action against you if that's even possible. I don't know the realm of these logistics and blueprints, if it's something that he could act on, but holy crap, doing this is a scummy move, first off, and secondly, looks to infringe on a lot of copyright laws. Now, yes, it's an open source idea. Yes, it's open source with the parts, but putting it together the same exact way as Mike Chi did and trying to pass it off as your own is a big no-no. But it gets even worse than that. Mike Chi posted this as well on the blog, the Retrotink clone, the Retroting. This is the instructions, the description on the website for Kaico Labs here. Copied straight from the old Retrotink site, including the 288i typo. At least update the description to what you're trying to sell. Plexiglass enclosure. They kept the typos. Like, this company was so lazy. This Kaico Labs, they literally just sourced the parts, copied the design, and then on top of that, cut and paste the description from the Retrotink 2X website. This is bad. This is bad. And look at that. £79.99, which equates to roughly the same price as the Retrotink 2X. The difference being that they can serve a different market that Mike Chi may not be able to sell to, have the manpower to create. So while he is growing his business, there is someone else stepping in and selling the same item, creating it themselves, and taking 100% of the profits away from Mike Chi and what he could have possibly grown to in the future. This is messed up, and I don't have a problem whatsoever calling out Kaico Labs. I have a big issue when companies do things like this, and it should not stand within the retro game community. I am not buying this excuse whatsoever by Kaico. This is a poor excuse for trying to get out of being caught red-handed copying a device and acting like they didn't know it was a problem, acting like that it's open source and that they can just source these parts themselves and create it because anybody can do this based off the open source project, and anyone is free to develop this project by using designs based in GitHub. But that is not true whatsoever, which is disproved down here by Matt from VGP. This is true in regards to the logo, although last time I checked, admittedly a few months ago, you were using our user guide still basically word for word, which is true. Which basically says that these guys got caught red-handed, not just creating the device by stealing it and reverse engineering what Mike Chi created, but then copying the instructions word for word. How lazy can you get? This is embarrassing. So shame on Kaico Labs, shame on anyone purchasing this from them, and honestly, I hope legal action is taken against this company because it is completely BS that someone could just steal someone's design, reverse engineer it, sell it for the same price or less if they want to down the road, and make full profit off of it. That's not capitalism. Like I said, that is theft. Anyway, I'm going to leave the video right there. Be very interested to hear what you guys think about this situation between Kaico Labs and Mike Chi, where you stand on it, who you believe, and ultimately what you think should happen with this down the road. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.